Hello there. Question number 13. What is equity and how do I issue it to investors, partners, co-founders? Well, I won't answer the question of what is equity. You can look that up on Quora, Investorpedia, or even startups.com. Go to any of those resources. They'll tell you what equity is. They'll explain that in detail. But I'm going to talk about how do you issue it and what things you should do or should not do in issuing it to people within your company. So one, when you issue to investors or a partner or a co-founder or to just employee, whatever those things are, when you're doing that, make sure you use an attorney who has done it before. Very critical. You've got to do it so it's legal and it's not messed up, because there's so many times when you create a company, you issue stock to a co-founder, and then maybe you raise money a year from now, and then the process of that original capitalization of the company is done wrong because maybe you didn't even have an attorney, you did it on your own, or the attorney you did have never done it before. So make sure you work with an experienced attorney on how a startup works and they're able to issue stock in the correct way. So that is important. Second thing, if you are, again, if you're looking for a co-founder and it's just two of you, never be 50-50. And I say never because never is just a good rule. Even if you're 50-50, there should be some agreement in place that one of you is the ultimate decision maker when you have a disagreement, because you can't be 50-50 because no one has the ability to make a decision when you're basically not agreeing. So don't be 50-50. Be a 51-49 or any other variation of that, but don't be 50-50 is my advice. Because when bad things happen, or when you just have a simple disagreement, and maybe it turns into be a fairly large disagreement about the direction of the company, and you're 50-50, you really have no one can make that call. And I've seen companies literally blow up because of this. So make sure you're not 50-50. Also, working with co-founders, and especially working for people you've never worked with before, do not issue stock in the first 30 days. Work with them, get to know them, make sure you're able to work with them, all those things. Do not issue stock before they start working. And if they're not willing to go to work without them issuing stocks, then what you can do is you can put a 30-day clause in there that just says, hey, we'll issue you stock if things go well the first 30 days. So it's not like you don't want to do that, but you need to vet these people to make sure that you're able to work with them on a culture standpoint as well as skills necessary to complete the job. So very important that you vet that and don't give away stock. That's what I say, 90 days. You can do 30, but definitely don't do it right up front. And then if you have investors that are asking for more than 50% of your company, and again, this is if you are early stage and you haven't raised any money, and you have an investor that says, oh, I'll give you, what you're asking for, say $500,000, but I want 50% of the company. Those are not good investors. Those are bad investors. And here's the reason why. Investors that ask for, say, more than 25% or even 20%, 20-25% in that number, maybe 30 on the outside, if you're still running the company and doing all the work and making decisions, if you're still in the CEO position and making all those decisions, then they're making you not be excited about running the company because they're taking so much of the company away. They disincentivize you, right? So you don't want that to happen. So when investors ask for that much of the company, they're probably not good investors. They're probably not people you want to have on your what they call the cap table. So be really clear on that, on what you're wanting from investors. So yeah, you may need the money. You may think that's all you need is money, but money is not normally what happen with the being successful or not successful. Money is not normally the problem. It's normally around product market fit and or the team and several other factors. So do not take money when someone asks for 50% of the company or a large piece of it. Now, this is different if they're taking a majority of the company because they want to take it somewhere else and you're not going to be running the show anymore. All those things that's possible. But I'm saying in the early stages, you running the show or you and the management teams running the show, you should not take an investor that wants that big 50% chunk or 40% chunk of the company. So that's the advice on that. So again, what's important to realize in equity is there's only so much of it. It's a finite number. And so be very careful on when you give it out and how you give it out. So that's it for question 13.